Hi guys, so we're taking a look at the end of unit assessment for Unit 5. You couldn't use a calculator on this one, and if you're doing corrections, you're trying to figure out which questions you missed, and then fixing those questions on a piece of notebook paper, and then you're going to email those corrections to me. So the first one says Dave stood 10 feet above sea level on the deck of a boat. He dove 25 feet down from the deck of the boat. Which integer best represents the change in his location from the boat? So we're talking about he dove 25 feet down from the deck of the boat. So dove tells me that it's negative, and it's going to be 25. So it should have been B. Okay, so they only wanted to know from the location of the boat. They don't want to know the total distance traveled. Jason subtracted 5 from an integer. The difference was negative. Which integer could be the other number Jason used in the subtraction problem? So 2 minus 5. So keep, change, change. 2 plus negative 5. We get negative 3. 5 minus 5, that's going to give me 0. 6 minus 5, that gives me 1. 8 minus 5, that gives me 3. So the only one that had a negative answer was A. Tom owed his sister $10. So if I owe somebody money, that's negative. After earning 50, pardon me, after earning $50, so that's plus 50, he was able to pay his sister what he owed her. Which integer represents the number of dollars Tom has now? Well, a negative 50 or a negative 10 plus a positive 50 leaves me with a positive 40. The high temperature on Monday was negative 14. The high temperature was 24 on Tuesday. Which integer represents the difference between the high temperatures on these 2 days? Okay, well, I have 24 minus negative 14. Keep, change, change. 24 plus 14. So I have 38 degrees. So it should have been A. The temperature before the sun rises was negative 7. The temperature was at noon was 17. What integer represents the difference in the temperatures from sunrise to 12 o'clock noon? So I have 17 minus negative 7. Keep, change, change. 17 plus 7. I have 24 degrees. Which situation could be represented by the equation negative 30 plus 30 equals 0? Rita bought a hat, so that's negative 30. And then she bought some headphones. That would also be a negative 30. Donna loaned $30 to her brother, so that's negative 30. Then he paid her back $30 the next day. Wen drove 30 miles to the library. Then he drove 30 more miles to college, so that's 30 plus 30. Minka filled her tank with 30 gallons of water. Then she filled her tank with 30 more. So that's 30 plus 30 again. So it has to be B. A hiker is at an elevation of 238 feet above sea level. He climbs downward, so he's going down, until his elevation has decreased by 144. So I could go minus 144. Which expression could be used to determine his current level above sea level? So I could do that one, or I could do 238 plus a negative 144. So I'm going to look at my options. And I have, these two have a negative 238. This one has a minus negative 144. So it has to be A. So even though the first one I came up with was a subtraction, I can change a subtraction problem into an addition problem using keep, change, change, or thinking about the opposite.
Mommy?
Yes?
You made 4.
Yeah.
Just like me.
Mm-hmm. Hyan uses round tiles. She must combine a positive and a negative signs on the tiles that result in a -1, which diagram shows a combination of a positive and negative tiles resulting in a -1. Okay, so remember, a positive and a negative make 0, so I'm left with -1. Positive and a negative make 0, so that's 0. Positive and negative, that's a +1. Positive and negative, that makes +2. So they wanted a -1, so that's A. Which sentence explains the result of multiplying 20 and -5? So 20 times -5 is going to give me -100. Okay, a positive times a negative is a negative number. So I know that the answer is going to be negative, so that means it's not going to be A, and it's not going to be C. And then I know that my answer, if I have -5 on my number line, -100 is less than. So that means it had to be B. Which expression results in the greatest value? So -2/1 times -1/2 equals 2/2, which is 1 whole, and it's positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. -2/1 times 1/2 is going to be -2/2, which gives me a -1. -2 times -2 equals +4. -2 times +2 is -4. So the greatest value is going to be C. 55 divided by -11. Well, I know 55 divided by -11 is going to be 5. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So I have -5. What's the product of 32 and 4? So 32 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. And then a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. -128. What is the quotient of -10 and 5? Well, quotient tells me to divide. So 5 goes into 10 2 whole times. With a negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. So I have a -2. And then I have -18/1 divided by 1/2, -1/2. And I remember with dividing fractions, I have to keep, change, flip. So -18/1 times 2/1. I don't want to drop my sign. So I'm left with 36, because 18 times 2 is 36/1. A negative times a negative is a positive. So I should have ended up with 36. If you have any questions or you're not sure about any of them, please let me know. Have a great rest of your day.